youth council, rides into Jerusalem on an ass. I wish I had some Bible students here. And as he rides into Jerusalem, the crowds are there. They have their palm leaves. Can't you hear them? Crying out, Hosanna. I wish I had somebody. As he makes what theologians call his triumphant entry into Jerusalem. That week becomes a notable week. Some things happen in that week. They hold his trial during that week. And they find Jesus guilty. And the question now becomes, what is he guilty of? What they said was he is guilty of sedition. Because he makes this, are y'all at church? He makes this claim that he is the Son of God. And they try him. And throughout the week, he is found guilty. And he is sentenced to death. Not just any death, but he's sentenced to death by execution on the cross. Let's get there on Friday. He is on the cross, but he's not alone. There are two other guys up there with him. Now, I don't know these two fellows' names. Historians give us some idea of what their names were, but I do know something about their character. They are called malefactors. In simple language, they are thieves and robbers. And the question now becomes, were they guilty? I wish I had somebody. I believe they are guilty because one of them himself testifies against the other. He says from the cross, we are both guilty of everything they said about us. They didn't just grab us and put us up here. When they said we stole, we stole. When they said we murdered, we murdered. You and I are guilty of everything they say. But what about this other fella? I wish I had somebody. This other fella in the middle does not get involved in their conversation. The two thieves have a conversation, but the fella in the middle doesn't say anything. He just hangs there. He has claimed to be the Son of God. Could he be the hero of heaven? Could he be who he claims to be? Come and listen in. And let's see if he will answer the riddle. Jesus, and may I say on the outset of this message, if Jesus is not who he claims to be, churches ought to close everywhere. If Jesus is not who he claims to be, then there is no crucifixion on the cross. If there's no crucifixion, there is no resurrection. And I have a question for the church. If Jesus is not resurrected, what we meeting for? I better tell y'all very quickly, the only reason the church gathers is because of what happened on Friday. You see, that which is central to our religion is this one fact, that on that Friday, he was crucified. Dare any preacher not talk about it? Dare any Christians not talk about, are y'all out there? Dare we not talk about what happened on, that is central to the gospel. The Bible falls apart if you cut that out. There's nothing else to read in here because every book in the Bible hangs his hat on that one fact is Jesus who he claims to be. He's out there, and all of a sudden they've stripped him. They've taken all his clothes off, and God says, I'll not let them look on his nakedness, and God blew out the light. I don't know how your Bible reads, but the Bible says it got dark everywhere. And as soon as God blew out the light, Jesus started talking. Listen at Jesus. He's quoting, I know we got to go. He's quoting Psalm number 22. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Sound like Jesus is not authenticating who he is, because he is announcing that God is not up here helping me. So Jesus is alerting us that when they nailed my hands, I felt it. Y'all not talking. When they nailed my feet, I felt it. When they pierced me in the side, I felt it. When they crushed the crown of thorns on my head, I felt it. God, why have you forsaken me? That ain't all he said, y'all. Kept on talking. He said, watch this, I thirst. I wish I had some Bible students here. I'm trying to get to one day. He said, I thirst. Preachers, what a oxymoronic statement. What a contradiction. I thirst. You sat on the well, Jesus. And you told that woman in John chapter 4, I hear somebody over here, but this side over, Jeff, your side, you got to bring them on. Y'all got to come over here. It says in John chapter 4, woman, whoever drink of the water you have is going to thirst again. But I have some water. If you drink of this water that I have, you'll never thirst again. Jesus, here you are. It's Friday. You're on the cross, but yet you say, I thirst. Jesus was alerting us to something. He's saying, here's what I've done. I've emptied out myself so y'all can be filled. I thirst. He kept talking, y'all. Kept talking. He was hanging on the cross and looked down and saw his mother. I wish I had some Bible students here. When he saw his mother, he saw some other folk who were faithful to him to the end. He saw John. And he looks down at John. He said, son, behold your mother. Then he looked at his mother and said, woman, behold your son. Now, if you don't know the Bible, you would think that Jesus was being disrespectful to his mother by calling her woman. But whenever you read the Bible, you will see Jesus never called her mama. Every time he talked, he said woman. I wish I had somebody. But I know 2 or 3 things. I don't know 4 or 5, but I know 2 or 3 things in the Bible. And in their culture, the usage of the term woman was never intended to be disrespected, but in the Greek it was the word madame. I wish I had somebody. In other words, he was showing his mother the utmost respect, and in their culture, he was the oldest son, and the oldest son had the responsibility of taking care of his mother whenever the father died. Jesus says, I refuse to die until I carry out my responsibility. I've got to make sure my mother is taken care of. And the Bible said John took her home with him. I wish I had somebody. You ought to see about your mother. Are y'all hearing me here? My mother's gone. All I have is a mother-in-law and some sisters. I try to at least help them out here and there. I try to make sure my mother-in-law don't have to. That's my mama. That's the only mama I have. I have to make sure she don't be worried about nothing. I wish I had somebody. Y'all sons ought to make sure your mama grass get cut. See how y'all done left me now? Your mama nervous and got to go to the gas station and put gas in her car. Sons, you ought to look out for your mama, because I've never had a baby, but I think they went through a lot to push us here. I got some folk over there, but that little section back there, y'all ain't doing that. And he keeps talking. And finally he gets to the end. I didn't tell you everything he said. He gets to the end and it's over now. He says, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. And the text says, and he gave up the ghost, or he breathed his last. I don't know, I preached somebody's funeral in here a few months ago. I talked about dying like Jesus died. You ought to die in touch with the Father. Talk to me, somebody. And now Jesus is dead. What happens next? I said all of that about what happened on Friday, so I could talk about Sunday morning. The story ain't over. Dig around. It ain't over. But on the first day, let's see what happens to his followers. Let me talk to you. Let me lift. Are y'all still out there? Let me lift a few things out of the text. Because listen, the world needs to be reminded of what happened on that Sunday morning. And I know y'all get tired of hearing it. Y'all get tired of us preachers always talking about it. Why do preachers always have to talk about he died and got up on Sunday morning? If we don't talk about that, I wish I had some witness here. Everything else vanishes and disappears. We need to be reminded that he died, but that's not how the story ends. You need to tell your children, your grandchildren, your friends, your co-workers, your neighbors. You need to tell the people sitting next to you, that's not how the story ends Sunday morning. Here are a couple of things I want to lift. First of all, back up to chapter 23, verses 44 through 46. I want to lift three quick things that's going to help us get to Sunday morning. The first thing I want to say a word about is their hopes were dashed. Their hopes were dashed. It was about the 6th hour when darkness fell all over the whole land, until the 9th hour, because the sun was obscured and the veil of the temple was torn in two. And Jesus, crying out with a loud voice, said, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. Having said this, he breathed his last. Their hopes were dashed. They have left everything to follow Jesus. Y'all got to understand, these fellows quit jobs to follow Jesus. They left everything. Their hopes are dashed. Y'all got to wait till Sunday morning. Because I'm looking at some of y'all and don't look like y'all have got to Sunday morning. Hang on. Sunday morning is coming. And if you're in here and it looks like your hopes have been dashed, look like that which you were hanging on to and holding on to, look like it has gone away, hang on in there. Sunday morning is coming. Yes, it's Friday and Jesus dies, and the disciples are looking at one another, and they're saying to themselves, what in the world are we going to do now? Our help is gone. Everything we thought we had is gone. Our friend is gone. Our brother is gone. Somebody in here now, you don't have no hope. But y'all, there's hope in this gospel. So that's the first thing. Here's the second thing. Their hopes were dashed. But look in the first 5 verses. Not only were their hopes dashed, but there's something else in here. They're in verses 1 through 5 that I read for my text. Their hearts were discouraged. Look at it. What would make their hearts so discouraged? Look in verse 3. When they entered in, they did not find the body of the Lord. The hearts are discouraged, first of all, because they are unsure of what has happened. Reverend Turner, they showed up, and all they knew was that Jesus' body was placed in this tomb. I wish I had somebody. And when they get there, the text says it right there, they entered in, and where is his body? Y'all not talking to me. They were unsure. Notice they were not looking for a resurrection. They were looking for a dead man, because they wanted to anoint his body with spices and ointment. They did not want his body to be smelling. They were unsure of what had happened. Are y'all hearing me? Somebody in here now, because of all of the foolishness we hear that centers around the resurrection, most of us have gone crazy. Talk to me now. Don't get quiet now. All of a sudden, the lie that was perpetrated years ago, centuries ago, that they stole his body, now more people than ever have questions as to whether or not Jesus rose. I want to tell y'all, I believe the Bible. And you cannot take part of the Bible and leave the other part out. If part of the Bible say he was born, the other part say he died. You can't believe that he was born and don't believe that he died. You got to read the whole story. I believe the story. Don't come telling me nothing about what you read in a book. Read the Bible. Tell somebody next to you, read the Bible. Don't tell me what a theologian said. Read the Bible. Don't come telling me after all of these years, maybe he didn't get up, maybe he wasn't born, maybe he didn't open blinded eyes. You ought to have your own personal testimony. You ought to know what God has done for you. Did he keep you when you were down? Didn't he pick you up? Didn't he help you make it through the rough times in your life? Wasn't he there when there was death in your family? Don't tell me now he ain't living. Are y'all hearing me here? They weren't sure. Don't tell me he did now. I've come too far. And he's helped me through too much. Y'all know I've been telling y'all that the Lord was going to help me to beat diabetes. I went to the doctor Thursday. He said, Pastor, man, you come a long way from where you were. He said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to roll a few more months. He said, but Pastor, you need to talk to folk. Because look like you done just about kicked this thing. So after a while, y'all crank my cakes back up. I told y'all I was coming back. Are y'all hearing me here? But I tell you how you can kick stuff. You got to have God to help you. Only God can help you to push back Are y'all hear me? Sister Jackson from Red Velvet Cake. I'm eating some cake today. Only God can help you leave bread alone. Only God can help you to leave that alone, which is contributing to your problem. Some of y'all need to get in touch with God. He'll help you make it over your hurdle. They were unsure. But look in verse 5. Not only were they unsure, they were uncertain. I'm almost done. But the women were terrified and bowed their faces to the ground and said to them, why do you seek the living among the dead? What? Wait a minute. We are at a cemetery, and people are buried at the cemetery. There ought to be a body here. We were at Jesus' funeral on Friday. We were here when Joseph of Arimathea, are y'all listening to me? When they put him in this tomb, we saw them carry his body in here. We were not able to finish doing all we wanted to do. We had to come out of here. I know he's in here. And here you all are telling me, why are we looking for the living among the dead? The last time we saw Jesus, he was dead. Whew. I tell you, if you ever start worshiping this dead Jesus, your hearts will be discouraged. Are y'all hearing me? And I'm going to wrap this up. But I need some encouragement. I can't worship this dead Jesus. I'm sorry. Some of y'all hadn't lived long enough. But you're going to need a living Jesus. Y'all hear me? Isn't it strange? Isn't it strange how when you listen to your mom and dad and they try to tell you, a lot of young people in here now, and they try to tell you you're going to need the Lord, and you be like, Mama, I don't need that. I got some other stuff going for me. And we hang our hats on other stuff. But when that other stuff go away, ooh, you're going to need him. See, some of us out here, Gus, we can't move back home. Right? I wish I had somebody. Oh, no, though. Gus' mama still living. He can move back home with G. But when you get out here and you got to stay out here and figure out how you're going to make it, you got to have somebody you can talk to. Oh, how foolish it was, I thought. Your mama walking around the house talking to the Lord. Be with me, Jesus. Take care of me, Jesus. Take care of my children, Jesus. Are y'all hearing me? Those of you who have, and all y'all with these small children now, they small now, but wait a minute. Are y'all hearing me? That script gonna flip on you. Are y'all hearing me? When they go where you told them not to go? Are y'all listening to me? And when they do what you told them not to do? Are y'all hearing me? I was at Pastor Fred Jemison Sr.'s funeral yesterday. Fred Jemison Jr. preached the funeral. He said this about his dad. He said, when my dad didn't drink, smoke, and cuss, and all that stuff, and he said I was going to be just like my daddy. I wasn't going to drink, smoke, cuss, wasn't going to take no dope, wasn't going to do nothing. Fred Jr. said all that went out the window when he hit college. I wish I had somebody that caught that. That's why you got to talk to the Lord now. So I've told you a couple of things for this resurrection morning. I've told you in this text that their hopes were dashed, didn't I? That's what I told you. Their hopes were dashed. I told you their hearts was discouraged. Let's go, y'all. We're going to let these children come. Boy, am I cutting it short today. Here's the last thing. Here's the last thing. Did I tell y'all I want to talk about Sunday morning? Here's the last thing. Chapter 23 is ugly, but chapter 24 is something else. Chapter 23, Jesus is dead. The earlier portion of chapter 24, he's missing. His tomb is empty. Where is he? Turner, where is he? Wilkerson, where is he? Dr. Huntley, where is he? He's missing. McDade, where is he? Willie White, where is he? Jones, has anybody seen him? He's missing. I don't know how I'm going to make it. And he's got to show up if I'm going to make it. Do y'all know the Lord will show up? Do y'all know he'll show up? Here's where I want to close my sermon. I've given y'all 2, but I always give 3, don't I? I want to close by saying a word about their hero was discovered. You got to get down to verse 13. Verse 13, 2 of the disciples are walking down the Emmaus road, and a stranger joins them. I wish I had some Bible students here. And they're talking about everything that happened. They're talking about it. Listen in on them. Shh, listen. Listen at these 2 brothers talking. Man, wasn't that something? They crucified Jesus. He said, man, did you see everything that happened? He said, yeah, I was there. Said when they crucified him, man, the world got dark when they crucified him. Is that all that happened? He said, no, man, that was an earthquake. I wish I had somebody. When they crucified him. Is that all happened? No, man. That ain't all happened. Man, did you hear that centurion? He said, what? You talking about that Roman soldier? Man, did you hear him? He said, no, I was too far. What did he say? He said, when all of that was going on, that centurion soldier said, surely. I wish I had somebody. This must be the Son of God. They are talking, this stranger started talking with them. Said, well, you know this stuff had to happen. I need to tell y'all something. Y'all need to get it in your mind and your heart. Jesus had to die. I know we're streaming this live, but I might as well be obedient to the Holy Spirit. Some of these largest churches in America don't want y'all to know that Jesus died. And some of you are saying we get tired of hearing that, but I'll tell you again, there is no gospel without that. And the stranger finishes talking to them. They said, well, come on, go and eat with us. And he said, okay, that I'll eat with y'all. And while they were eating, do you mind if I break the bread? Y'all get the children ready. Do you mind if I break the bread? And that stranger started breaking the bread. I wish I had somebody. Those 2 fellas said, wait a minute. Hold on. They looked up. They said, it's you, Jesus. I wish I had somebody. I want to close this by telling you there ought to be some ways that you know Jesus is alive. Y'all not hearing me here? I said there ought to be some ways that you know Jesus is alive. You ought to know what he's done for you. And the way he does it like nobody else does it. Are y'all hearing me here? In other words, he'll help you to pay your bills without you having to come up in front of the church and ask everybody to give you $2 or $3. What the Lord will do, he'll get behind the door. Are y'all hearing me here? And he'll touch somebody's heart. And somebody will walk up to you and ease you a little money. You don't have any gas money to make it to work this week. The Lord will touch somebody's heart. And they'll shake your hand and put a few dollars in your hand. And when you get home, you'll discover you got enough. You ought to know how the Lord works. I'm going to stop this right now, y'all, because I know how he works. Anybody here know how the Lord works? And then, see, the Lord works with you differently from how he works with me. But you ought to recognize him when the Lord is at work. Are y'all hearing me here? Rather, when God is at work. Are y'all hearing me? When God is at work, he'll show up at a UAB hospital. Tanya Jones' Collier can be in there. She can't hardly move one of her arms, and her mouth is a little twisted. You ought to know God when he show up. That's when we got there. But oh my God, it didn't take God but a little while. Tanya's mouth starts straightening back out. Are y'all hearing me here? Tanya started lifting up. I'm trying to tell y'all, you ought to recognize God when he show up. I wish I had somebody. And when God show up, you ought to know it's him. I ought to have some more witnesses in here that have seen God show up. Are y'all hearing me here? I got to quit, Johnny. He'll show up when your heart is acting up. Y'all ain't hearing me here. John, he'll show up and he'll help you get hearing aids in your ear. EJ, he'll show up when your Hummer is flipping through the air and you get torpedoed out the sunroof. The Lord, oh my God, the Lord, I said I wasn't going to do this, but the Lord will let you get torpedoed out the sunroof. But the Lord, that's what the old preacher said, he'll put his strong arms of protection all around you. And you ought to be dead, but nobody but the Lord. I got to ask you, is there anybody in here that ever seen the Lord work? Aren't you glad that he'll work for you? Turn to somebody and tell them it's Sunday morning. Tell them it's Sunday morning. Tell them again, it's Sunday morning. I need everybody in here. We got to have a little crazy church. I need everybody in here, if you're able, to stand up on your feet. That's if you're able. Shoot, if we were at a club, and I can't think of no new dances. Dog, I need Tip to text me. I don't have my phone. But some of y'all that dance, give me a couple of dances. Don't be ashamed. Who? That ain't no dance. Somebody give me a dance. Don't be scared. I ain't going to preach about you. The who? The worm? All right. Anybody else? The who? The wobble? Oh, yeah, they were doing that at family reunion last year. William went way back, the electric slide. But all I'm trying to tell y'all, if I told everybody to get up and wobble, all of y'all would be wobbling all over the place. But I want you to turn to the person sitting next to you and tell them it's Sunday morning. Don't be scared. Turn to them and tell them it's Sunday morning. And I want you to get you a good wind and tell them early Sunday morning he got up with all power. All power. Yeah! I'm through. That's all. I'm through. Thank God today. when you see him work, you ought to know it's him. You ought to be able to recognize what God has done. And when you recognize what God has done, you ought to give him some thanks. When you recognize what he's done, you ought to give him some thanks. Thank God today. When you leave here, come on, brothers.
Yes, sir.
When you leave here, tell folk, I may not recognize him in the beginning, but when God gets through doing what he does, you'll know it was him. I'm glad about Sunday morning. I'm glad about Sunday morning. And maybe you're in here and I'm sorry, I didn't go to do all that, but I'm glad today. I'm excited. Y'all excited about the worm and the wobble. I'm excited about Sunday morning. Sunday morning means everything to me because Jesus got up.
Yes, sir.
I have everything I need. When I can't see my way, he's my light. When my burdens get too heavy for me, he's my heavy load sharer.
Yes, sir.
Everything I need, I found it in him because of Sunday morning. There may be somebody in this place today who failed to understand why we're so excited about Jesus. I truly believe these over 40 years that I've been in the pulpit now, I've been telling people I believe in Jesus. And I believe he died on Friday, that he got up on Sunday morning. Yeah, he'll prosper you and all that stuff. But y'all want to know the greatest thing he's done for me? The greatest thing he's done for me is he got up for me. Because I need somebody. If you're in here, if you can believe that gospel, that Jesus is the Christ, that's my first call. If you can just believe that, don't people try to complicate it and they start telling you you need to do this, that, and the other. The gospel is centered around one thing. If you can believe that Jesus died and was raised again, that he is the Son of God, that's all it takes. If you can believe that, you can be saved. If you've never been a member of the church, that's my first call. You come. If you're in here and you've been baptized and you need a church home, you come. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I don't care what nobody say. I don't care whether it's Easter. I don't care whether it's first Sunday, second Sunday. If you're in here, get up and come. That's it. Yes, oh, it is Jesus. Yes, that's it, son. That's it. Come on, somebody else come. Somebody else, come on. Yeah, somebody else. I've touched.
Our hope is that you are blessed today. If you would like to visit our church, we're located at 2900 Avenue G in Inslee, Alabama. All are welcome.